Good morning, this is Pam with Follow Your Brush, and it's Saturday, so that's the day I like to set aside to play. And I thank you for joining me. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm a watercolor explorist, adventurist, love all things watercolor. And today we're going to look into a new sketchbook that I got. It's from Schmincke, is how they say to pronounce it in their paperwork, Schmincke. And I also, that's from Italy. And then I have some paints from Germany. So we're going to Europe today. This is my new Schmincke set that I got. And actually, I must confess, although it is extremely expensive, it's not inexpensive watercolor by any stretch of the imagination. I bought it because of the leaf painted on the cover. Now, I know that's not a good reason. Has nothing to do with the quality or pigments in the paints, but you know, that's just kind of how I roll. I like to just buy things, and I'm often an impulse buyer, to say the least. But anyway, I have tried unsuccessfully to do swatching of these colors on a video, and whether it was my head was in the way or I don't know. I tried like 3 different times, and each time was a bigger failure than the first. So you know what? I'm gonna try again today and swatch these colors. They are beautiful, and see if I can get somewhere and actually do something productive. So here's the set, and I have already swatched them on. I usually cut up a piece of art paper. I believe this was an Arches piece of paper, and just cut it to do my own swatches in, because I want to know how they're gonna look on decent paper. Now, as far as this sketchbook is concerned, I saw this recommended on a video from I believe it was Steve Mitchell, talking about this and how it lays flat. And the other unique thing about this one, here's some swatches I did the other day. Not only does it lay flat, but maybe this is my problem, is trying to figure out where I'm going to put things. I'll try there. So you can still see what I'm doing. Not only does it lay flat, which is nice, and it has the seam is almost imperceptible here in the middle, and so therefore you can paint across the seam and not have puddles, not have gutters. So I was interested in seeing how that was going to work as well. I'm sorry, I seem like I have a little bit of a shadow here, so sorry for that, but we'll make the best of it. So here are my colors. This is a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 20 color set. And all of the colors up to this point, let me put it here so you can see this better. All the colors up to this point are standard colors, as far as you might see them other places in their line. And then from the last 8 in this set are granulating. So I like their granulating colors. I already had it says forest brown, but gosh, that looks forest green to me. I double checked, and it says on the palette and everything forest brown, but we'll play with that today. Maybe if I use more water, the granulation will come out, and I will indeed see some brown. But I already had the glacier black. I had the tundra violet in another set, and I enjoy working with them. So let's play today, and I'm going to see if I can't get these finally swatched in a decent manner for you. And I'm first gonna do wet on dry paper today, and see how they do. They wet nicely. This is gonna kind of do some flower petals today. I get tired of doing it the same way all the time. This is transparent yellow, and it's PY 150. This is ruby red. I'm trying to think. It's not always easy for me to think and talk at the same time. I'll just kind of let that go for that. That's ruby red. This is Perylene Violet. PV 29. Really, really pretty. The flowers are questionable. Perylene Violet, that's really pretty. Let's look at deep blue. This is PB 60. Trying to do another kind of flower petals here. You know, I just make up my flowers as I go, so this is not going to have any real significance as far as botanical painting. But that's also very pretty. I'm gonna leave those little spots there, see how they dry. I just did that on purpose. This is ultramarine. Finest, it says. PB 29. I know that doesn't look like a flower. Don't tell me I'm going to think too much and do another bum video. It's entirely possible. Oh, I accidentally went over that seam. We'll see how that does. All right, let me get back to my flowers. This is Cobalt Cerulean, PB 36. Looks to me like it's a little more opaque. Kind of do like a little flower out in the yard or something. I'm getting smaller instead of bigger. Phthalo green. I'll leave the center for that one to maybe have some type of center I can play with later. Sap green. I did a sap green last night with my other new paints from Lightwish. This is a pretty one too. Can do a 4-leaf clover. How about that? I actually found a little tiny baby 4-leaf clover in my yard on St. Patrick's Day. I picked it and sent it to my granddaughter, gave it to my granddaughter. This is Perylene green. I like Perylene green. It has PBK 51 in it, and so it's kind of it's a darker, almost black leaning color. Perylene green. And we have says raw yellow ochre. And I just made it across this page properly. With plenty of room. And it's a PY42 and PY43 in this ochre. I'm going to just come down to the granulating ones here. This is Glacier Black, and I'm going to switch up how I'm doing it because I want to see the granulation. And granulating colors love lots of water. So let's give it what it likes and do some water on here and just see how it's gonna act and react. You can already see some texture here. You can always pick it up and let it run a little bit too. They love the water. Granulating colors love the water. So you can see the texture, whereas in like this phthalo green, it kind of dried flat. It's not giving you the texture like this one is. This one is Urban Red. And I'm going to give it some more water too. The colors in this, oh, I didn't tell you the colors and the pigments in this one is PBK, what the heck did I write? PBK 11 it looks like, and PB 36. This one is PY 159, PR 108, PB 35, and PBR 6. So we should see several colors in this one as it, not several, but as it paints out. Also a nice granulating colors. I can think that would be nice, like for if you're doing bricks on a building, that would be pretty. I also like to use granulating colors when I do trees. This says forest brown, but I just don't understand where they get the brown from. I just really wondered if it wasn't misnamed. It's PY43 and PG26, so I'm not sure where they're getting the brown from. It looks to me like more of a forest green, maybe it was mismarked. I don't know. I find that hard to believe with Schmincke. But that's just how it looks to me. So that's all I have to say about that, because I don't know. This next one is Shire Olive, PY 159 and PB 25. And again, we can go across that seam. Let me get some more pigment on this. I don't really have a full load to do it justice. Roll my brush in that pigment. Get a heavier pigment load. And then we'll do some water on the bottom and see how it likes to paint out. So that's Shire Olive. Shire Olive. This next one is Urban Green, and it is PY 159, PB 36, and PBK 11. I like this. It's kind of a granulating version of the Caroline Green almost. Let that run out a little bit. The Caroline Green was PBK 51, and this is PY 159, PB 36, and PBK 11. So it actually really doesn't have the same pigments in it, but just kind of reminds me of that same color up here. All right, let's go to another granulating color here. My water's up a touch. And this one is deep sea green. And it is PG 45 and PB 29. I see more of the blue in this one than the green, but as I dig into it, I'll let this granulate. Maybe more of that green color will come out. The pigment that's in there. And then we have, I have two more granulating. This one is, wait a minute. Yeah. This is Haze Blue, PG 18 and PB 29. This is a pretty color. I like this one too. I seem to like the blues and the purples, and there's just, I get that from my mother. Those were her colors. So I guess I earned that well from my mom. So that's Haze Blue. These are pretty granulating colors. I really like them. And then this one is Tundra Violet, which I also have in another set. I just ordered some pan sets, or half pans, from somebody online that was selling some granulating colors a few years ago. And that was one of them that I purchased. I thought I didn't know she was actually pouring them and sending them. I just thought it was when I was first started. I saw somebody said they were going to sell the granulating colors if I wanted some. And so I said, yeah, I want some. But what I didn't realize was she was actually pouring them from the tube and selling little half pans in mail. I didn't know that, but, that's okay. I got my half pans. And then now we go back to the regular colors. This one is Green Umber, which is, let me see what this says. PBR7. Yeah, PBR7. That's all it says. PBR7. I think at my light wish last night I did several that were PBR7, didn't I? And this one is called, well, this was Green Umber. The next one is Transparent Sienna, PR61. So we have some single pigments. Yesterday when I was doing my video, I kept saying pure pigments. That's not what I meant. I meant single pigment. So I apologize for that. But these are nice, and the I really like this Tundra Violet, and I like this one. This was the Urban Green. I like that. I like the Glacier Black. I like the way that paints out. These are really beautiful colors. And like I said, this is not an economy set. These guys are expensive. Look how pretty that is, that haze blue. But I really enjoy them. Let's do some just across the seam. See how smooth we can get across the seam. Not too bad. Not too bad. That's one of the things that they tout about this sketchbook, is that you can lay it flat and paint without having that gutter. And it is pretty effective. This is also, I don't know if I mentioned, this is 300-pound paper, whereas normally I would paint in sketchbooks are 140-pound. So this is much thicker. Look at that. I guess you can tell. That's a much thicker paper and heavier paper. Actually, as a rule, I really enjoy painting with 140-pound, 140 and 300-pound paper. Sometimes I order just full sheets of 300-pound. Let's do some blending here or mixing. That's my transparent yellow. Let's some blue. Let's put some of this ruby red in this yellow too. See what kind of orange we got. That's pretty. That's pretty. So these are from Schmincke, and I have a couple other sets from Schmincke that they're also really quite lovely. This is that Perylene Violet. I like to do mixing. I like to mix colors. Let's mix it with this yellow. See what we get. Kind of an interesting color. Let's mix the Perylene Violet with some, let's do some Ultramarine Finest. See what we get there. Just kind of deepens it. Let's try some transparent yellow. I always go through my yellows too quickly. I love to mix colors, and let's try that yellow with the Ultramarine Finest. See what kind of green we get. Ooh, that one likes to run around, doesn't it? That one really likes to play. I like that too. Let's try some. Let me try this Perylene Green. You know, the green and the reds will give you like a brown. So let's see what we can get here. Well, the red is kind of overpowering that green. Let me try some more. Getting more of it looks more like a violet, a deeper violet than it is a brown. That's interesting. The Perylene Green is PBK 51. That's interesting. I enjoy color mixing and playing. This is raw yellow. More of an earth tone. Let's mix that with some of this cobalt cerulean and see what we get. The cerulean seems kind of opaque. Interesting. It's an interesting color green. I'm just really fascinated with this one. Let me add some yellow to that and see what I get. Now, I want to make sure you understand that I'm mixing on the page, so my colors are going to be a little different than if I were to mix them in the pan. So let's do that. Let's do that real quickly. Because mixing them on the page, you're going to get one result. Mixing them in the pan is actually going to look a little different. So let's take that, this yellow again, raw yellow, which is, I'm sorry, raw yellow ochre, PY42 and PY43, and let me mix it with that cerulean again. Now they're thoroughly mixed together, so it's going to be different than this on the paper. So I wanted to bring that up because sometimes I mix on the paper, sometimes I do not. Sometimes I go ahead and mix. I'm going to add some more blue, more cerulean, more of this yellow. And see what kind of color we get. You see that's pretty also. So you did obviously get different shades. Let's take some of this yellow. This is the transparent yellow, nice and bright. And let me mix it with my, ooh, isn't that pretty? I think that's what I did here. So if you mix it in the pan, you're going to get more of the pure color mixing than if you do on the paper. So, and when I'm painting, often I do both. So there's my Schmincke colors, and I hope that this video came out well. And I thank you for liking, subscribing, and all those things we do on YouTube. And be sure to follow your brush. Take you some great places. Thank you. Bye.